Okay, here's my video. I'm going to be explaining my rookie mistake that I made with my diesel here, the 6.0. Here in Michigan right now, it's like 12 degrees, and I always buy fuel additive, but for whatever reason I was just lazy and didn't buy it till yesterday. And yesterday I was driving and I bought fuel additive for whatever reason, still didn't put it in. And was going about 50 miles down the highway at 70 miles an hour, and it just started shaking really bad, like I was on the rumble strip. And I have the aftermarket gauges I'll show you for the fuel pressure, transmission temperature, and exhaust gas temperature. I put those on there because I do a lot of hauling. So anyway, after it started shaking really bad, it didn't go away. I quickly looked at all my gauges. All the truck gauges were fine, didn't show anything. So I looked at my aftermarket gauges, and my fuel pressure was reading 0. Now, I don't know how much you know about the 6.0, whoever's watching this, and I believe the 7.3 as well, but the injectors run off of oil pressure, hydraulic oil pressure, and they can draft their own fuel. So even if the fuel pump isn't working, they can pull their own fuel. It's very, very bad for your fuel injectors, but it can do it. So I believe that's the reason why I was still running. I believe my fuel gelled. 100% my fault. You see all these videos where people are saying that they got bad fuel or whatever excuse that they're making. I can't even make that excuse. It was 100% just being lazy, and for one, not buying it, and then once I did buy it, not putting it in. So not making any excuses. But anyway, so after we got it back running, or got it pulled over, I put half a bottle of the Howe's anti-gel, which is what I used in my old 7.3. So I just stuck with that, no reason specifically. But I put that in there, started it back up, and it was running about 40 psi. Now I should mention the normal psi for this truck is about 60. So like I said, as you can tell, the normal psi is supposed to be around 60. So when I saw the 15 and 30 is obviously a concern. So I shut off the truck again, let it sit for a little bit longer. I didn't have any of the diesel 911, so I had to just wait for the Howe's to take effect, I guess is what I was trying to wait for. I got the pressure back up to about 45, 50. I limped it to my destination. That was only another hour away, or a mile away, and put it in the garage and heated it up. That got my pressure back up to where it was supposed to be, 58, 60. But then I took it for a test drive, and I noticed I was losing my fuel pressure again. So stopped at a truck stop gas station because the normal gas stations didn't have the diesel 911 that I know I needed, because I obviously have some gelling issues. Hopefully it didn't destroy my fuel pump or damage my injectors. So I'll go into that later and explain that as well. So anyway, I go to the truck stop with a gas station attached to it and buy the diesel 911. Put half of that bottle in, and my pressure stayed up. I'm still noticing that, and this is the next day, I'm noticing that my fuel pressure drops after I have the PSI too high, or after I have my RPMs too high. So right now it's running 55, that's the fuel pressure. Right there, 56. Here's the transmission temperature, that starts out at 80. The truck hasn't been started yet today, so that's actually not accurate, but it defaults at 80. And then my exhaust gas temperature. So I'll cycle the key one more time. It was plugged in. Like I said, it's still about 10 degrees outside, so it's still very hot, or cold. So go ahead and start it and see how it sounds today. Okay, so it sounds a lot better than I thought it would. My pressure's staying up at 56. Test driving it will be the only factor of knowing if it's actually better. I'm not going to rev it right now because it just started. So I'll go into the diesel 911 and all that. I watched a couple of YouTube videos and people aren't explaining it correctly. One guy kept saying that your fuel is freezing because of water, and that's just simply not true. It couldn't be farther from the truth. If your engine doesn't have anything wrong with it, just normal operating, and you have gelling issues, it is your fuel that is gelling. There's paraffin wax inside of number 2 diesel fuel, which is what all standard vehicles use to drive. Paraffin wax helps lubricate your cylinders and keeps everything running smoothly. So that's why they have to put it in there, but the double-edged sword to it is, in the wintertime, it can gel and freeze. So, for example, if you don't know what paraffin wax is if you've ever seen where the female or your girlfriend or wife or whatever has the thing where they dip their hand in and make like a glove or whatever it's supposed to exfoliate and all that. That's paraffin wax. So if you think about how hard that gets when it's not warm or kept at a warm temperature, that's exactly what your fuel is doing, and obviously your pump can't pump that because it's a solid. So it has nothing to do with water. All standard vehicles or trucks or cars that have diesel engines all are going to have water separators. Now, you would have a check engine light saying that your water separator is failing or full or whatever. So, to the guy that said that it was all because of the bad fuel he got, it's a lie. Sorry to say. All the gas stations in areas where it can get to 20 degrees or below automatically switch their fuel over to a winter blend, and helps combat the freezing. You also need to do an additive as well, so that's not enough as it is. Sorry to say. Also, I heard claims of using number 1 diesel fuel. Number 1 diesel fuel was for very, very late model diesels. It has no paraffin wax in it, so its freezing temperature or gelling temperature is extremely lower than number 2. The flip side to that coin is if you run just diesel number 1 in a vehicle that's designed to run diesel number 2, you will start melting things. Your wear rings, all of your O-rings, all of your injectors, you have problems with all of that. So I've seen some articles and read some papers and stuff where people are saying to do 50-50 diesel part 1, diesel part 2. And I went to Ford's website and a couple other diesel mechanics websites, and they completely strongly suggest against doing that. Like all of my videos, they're my opinions. I do a little bit of research behind it, but there's no facts. So if you want to do it, go ahead and try it. I'm not going to do it. Ford says don't do it. That's what my truck is. It's a Ford, and they get paid big money to know what they're talking about. So basically my video today is getting it running. I'm going to head to the parts store because they were closed last night when I had all these issues, and I'm going to buy a new fuel filter. I'm going to put a new fuel filter in it, and hopefully my pressure dropping when I'm accelerating goes away. What I'm thinking is I still have some solid components still inside of my fuel filter. So that's my goal today, is to drive this, go get a fuel filter, put a fuel filter in, and see what that does for me. Hopefully it fixes it. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll make a separate video just on showing how to change a fuel filter on this truck. I'm going to be doing the top fuel filter. This truck has 2. Not like it's anything special. Any truck of this year will have 2. There's one at the frame, which is right with your fuel water separator, and then there's one underneath the hood, which is the most common for people to replace. So I'm going to be doing the one underneath the hood, and hopefully that fixes my problems. Like I said, I still have half a bottle of diesel 911 inside my fuel tanks, so I'm hoping that fixes it as well. So let me show you the different bottles so you can see. And I'm a firm believer of diesel 911 now, because that actually got my pressure up halfway decent. So this here is what I was running, the House diesel lubricator and anti-gel combination. It seemed to do fine in my 7.3. Again, that was putting it in before I had a problem, so I might try it in this one. I'm not sure. I talked to a couple tow truck companies in the area, and they're saying to run the white bottle of Power Service winterizing gel, 250 gallons. The bottle was, I think, $17 at the truck stop, so it's not a cheap bottle, but for 250 gallons and you not causing damage to your fuel pump and your injectors, it's worth it to me. So I'm going to start running that and see what happens. Then, if you're already gelled, this is what you should be using. Diesel 911 treats 100 gallons, still $11, 150 less gallons, but this one's for when your fuel has already gelled. And this is the only one I've seen on the market that is designed after your fuel is already gelled. Restores flow of fuel to engine caused by gel, fuel, or frozen fuel filter. And this one's after it's already frozen. There's a little chart on the back that tells you at what temperatures to do what. So you just have to read the instructions. To remove water and prevent fuel icing, to re-liquefy, that's if it's already completely gelled, or to de-ice frozen fuel filter. So there's all these different steps on it. So I'm going to keep both of these here in the truck, and hopefully never have this problem again, because I'm going to use my brain and not let it sit, or not run it without additive. So let me go ahead and go to the the parts store, get a fuel filter, and then I'll be back and let you know how that worked.